Let me open the proceedings first of all by just saying that Peter and Margaret joined my wife and I last week for our private, personal farewell, which means that I don't have to be too personal today, so I don't have to get too upset, too emotional. But I can, in fact, quite happily and easily say that my purpose today is to pay credit to you, Peter, on behalf of the company, and not so much on personal purposes. I'd like to start off by saying that my first lecture was about 1978, when I was head of circulation on Norfolk Group, and came down here on one of my visits. But my predecessor, for reasons best known to himself, tended to keep me locked in his office and tried to smoke me out. And I used to get out for a breather every now and then. It was only in those times I managed to say hello to people like Peter. And so therefore, although we met each other, and we knew each other briefly, I think it's fair to say that it was probably about 10 years later, in 1989, that we really got to know each other as colleagues and fellow directors of the company. From my point of view, it's been a fantastic experience the last 4.5 years. I've been with a number of provincial newspaper groups, the Sunday Times over the last 30-odd years. I can honestly say that I've dealt with a number of editors of daily papers, weekly newspapers throughout the United Kingdom. I have never ever met anybody like our Peter. He is unquestionably when you're sitting up in bed, reading your morning paper, eating your toast and drinking your coffee, you'll think, I wish I was with Harry. However, I don't like to use phrases like ends of eras and all the rest of it. I actually don't believe it. The sort of phrase that I don't like very much myself. Because when you've got someone who's really successful, who has had a magnificent career, and outside of newspapers you can think of people like Glenn Miller, people like that. It goes on. The era doesn't end. The Peter Smith era will never, ever end. He's handed over the mantle to somebody who's proud to accept it and will continue the job in the way that Peter has done the job successfully over so many years, and of course add his own particular facets to that job as he does so. So I'm totally confident that the Peter Smith era, any era, doesn't come to an end. It's a beginning. Peter and Margaret enter upon a new beginning. And I know we all wish them well on that. So Peter, I won't dwell too much. If I say too much, I can see I'm going to be reducing you and me to tears. We've asked a member of the staff, we think the most appropriate member of the staff, for very many reasons, to present your gift to Peter, and that is Petal. Before I do hand over to Petal, I'd like to finish by saying, you've been lucky, Peter. You've been the editor of one of the most famous and successful newspapers in the United Kingdom. But that newspaper has been even luckier to have Peter Smith as an editor. 2¼ centuries of the Essex Chronicle, that is what we work for here with the Gazette and whatever, but 2¼ centuries is what we work for on the Essex Chronicle. That's why it's different. That's why it makes everybody's job different. But Peter, you have made your mark on the history of the Essex Chronicle. You have made a difference, sir. I would like you to accept also, on our behalf, before I hand over to Petal, just an album. Peter Smith, a lifetime in newspapers. We thank you, sir, for spending some of that lifetime with us.
That has earned him the nickname Peter Smooth. I speak on behalf of us all when I say Peter is a renowned newspaper, but above all, he has been a great colleague and companion. Peter would often take from his drawer a scrapbook. You may have seen it. It's full of cuttings and crazy pictures with funny one-line captions. It well illustrates his wonderful Lancashire sense of humour. His sense of fun has sustained throughout a 37-year career, which has seen broad changes. From liner type machines, hot metal, to the wonders of photo composition and full colour, and the super high technology we use to produce the Chronicle today. Some things do not change. The battles for more editorial space and deliberations on how best to please and encourage readers are still with us. When the man has been an HOD in newspapers for 20 or 30 years, he encounters all facets of human life. Peter said on many occasions, I could write a book when recalling incidents and personalities from the past. But never has he lost touch with his colleagues. Tributes have come in thick and fast recently, and now it's our turn. Perhaps not to produce a book, but a special edition would certainly be filled with the tributes flooding in Peter. He's a man who listens. Yes, he would hear what you say. Believe me, if you took from that remark the impression that that's just where the matter rested, you soon learned Peter went about achieving change or overcoming problems in an unobtrusive manner. He would hear what you had to say, and always he kept the welfare of staff in mind. There have been some disappointments and some very great successes over the years. And I do think, the fact that we had a very successful Chronicle lies very much in his hands. The times when we were able to take an early cut disappeared in an earlier era, and recently Margaret must have often wondered if he was ever going to come home sometimes. Now she too can look forward to an easier time ahead and happy years which they will share with the family, and we hope this wonderful crystal ball gives you pleasure. I recall a funny story, although I know Peter would tell a bit more humour. It involves the Whittam Operatic Society. They are highly regarded throughout Essex and nationally, and they win competitions with artistic and musical productions. A few years ago, they won the big prize, a trophy made of thousands of pounds worth of crystal. So delighted were they with this magnificent object, styled in a lovely shape on a stand with a hand-cut crystal lid. And they all celebrated their success to quite a high degree. They charged their chairman with his care on their return journey, and when he reached Whittam High Street, still clutching the prize, he collided with a lamppost with disastrous consequences for the waterproof trophy. And Margaret, we hope this vase has a happier fate, and we present it with you, with good wishes from all of the company, the directors and everybody, and hope it serves you well for very many years. So it's time, Peter, to relax, to ease up a little. Something we all look forward to doing, and you probably many plans to do these days. But we all want you to know how much we will miss your presence. You have always found time for us. We hope this carriage clock will serve as a reminder of many, many happy years with the company and all the friends here wishing you well. As Floyd on Food said last night, you can feed a man fish and he'll live for a day. Teach him to fish, he'll live for it. You're saying cheerio. Well, Peter, we hear what you say. But ask you, will you please pop in for a chat sometime soon? Meantime, we will give you our very best wishes for a long, happy, healthy life.
Well, there you go. How do you follow that? These two have taken both of my best lines between us. However, we managed to get to the right page. Right, okay. Don't be doing all that. It's not all that. I promise you, it's not all that. I came to work for the Essex Chronicle in March 1957. Most of you weren't born then. This was just a field. Everyone smoked. You could get 4 gallons of petrol for £1. And the National Health Service didn't have a three-year waiting list to get you varicose vein stuff. I start off like this just so you'll all be well aware that there's going to be a lot of nostalgia and I remember when about. Imagine you'd be surprised if there wasn't. As far as I know, there are only 3 people left in the organisation who date back to that dim and distant time. Colin Bott, who received his 40 years well watched. Oh, there you go. Ted Herman. He's not here either. Ralph Tyrrell, MBE. He's not here either. Ralph and Ted are still with us a couple of days a week, even though they're retired. These 3, Colin, Ralph and Ted, also have the rare distinction of being high streeters, as does Laurie McInnes. Is Laurie here? That's the friends. Laurie joined in 1960, and like the other 3 as a high streeter. For the younger ones amongst you, which is most of you in fact, the High Streeter was a Chronicle member of staff who actually worked in the old High Street premises. That's the tall white building, which was occupied by Abbey National and is now by a photographer, just across the road from the Saracens and the Shire Hall. And that, believe it or not, is where everything here used to happen. The Essex Chronicle, the Old Newsman Herald, the Colchester Express, they were all produced in that building. All the mechanical processes were carried out there. The only thing that wasn't in the building was the press. That was in a sort of garage in Bradford Street. And John Little. Is John Little here? Oh, right. John Little, who started in the crew there in 1961, had been a short time in the High Street in the stereo department. I don't suppose there were ever more than about 40 people who worked in the High Street office. All the departments were so much smaller. The accounts department, for instance, in those days was called Miss Monday, who was a formidable lady who ruled the world of staff and customers alike from a tiny cubicle in the front office. The building was haunted. By whom or by what, I don't know. I never saw it myself, but I know a man who did. There were different days, different ways, and remembered with a great deal of affection by those of us who were there. In the early 1960s, a series of quite dramatic changes came about that transformed the Essex Chronicle, both the newspaper and the company. The business became part of Associated Newspapers, the Daily Mail Group, as it still is today, and we moved from High Street to the Greenfields of Westway, and we installed the lead offset press that is still serving us so magnificently. We were a hybrid old and new setup in those days. One end of the production chain was the brand new press, and at the other there were still linotype machines functioning on hot metal. We've travelled a quantum leap since then. I'll not bore you with the details of where we now stand. You're all familiar with the situation, but the most encouraging thing is that the essential business of gathering, presenting and printing news wrapped up in a package that will make money remains basically the same now as when William Struter started it all in 1764. Quite what the old boy would have made of one of the major highlights of my career, I don't know. This happened in 1969, when Neil Armstrong did his moonwalk, and the Colchester Express became the first newspaper in this country to carry a full picture of this incredible achievement. In fact, 2.5 hours after the first paper came off the press, I was sitting in the Anglia television studios in Norwich, telling the world what a great setup we were here. A message I've been repeating since at every opportunity. We now take for granted that we will produce good colour and a beefy, well-printed paper every week. We're brand leaders in many ways. We have circulation achievements that are the envy of the industry. We produce papers that command the respect of the communities we serve. I like to think William Struter would be proud of us. The Chronicle's been trundling on for a long time now, and hopefully will continue to do so for as long again. In those years, it's developed a very special nature and feel. It has very much of a family feel about it, and we have had, and now have instances of several members of the same family on the payroll. Visitors often tell me it feels like a good place to work. It hasn't been all the sweetness and light, of course. There have been ups and downs, failures and heartbreaks, and a series of head-on clashes. Many of you will remember the picket line at the end of the drive that was in place for the latter half of 1989. In an earlier dispute, one half of the newsroom was called out on a national strike, and the other half worked normally. Come the time for the editorial Christmas lunch, we all sat down together in a pub at Malden as we'd planned before the trouble started. The pickets took off their armbands, leave their placards in the corner, and we had a very pleasant meal together, talking about everything else except the strike. It was a bit like that football match in No Man's Land in France in Christmas 1914. During my years at Chelmsford, about 20 altogether, I calculate I've travelled about 244,000 miles just going up and down the A12 from home to work. It's only 6,000 more than that to the moon. During that same period, I've started about 180 trainees and probably twice as many senior staff. Left to my own devices, the editorial department would now number just under 600. Managing directors tend to have a fairly crabby view of this sort of environment. While on the subject of the editorial department, now would be an appropriate time to thank the department for the support they've given me. It's a bit tight, folks, but I'm sure it'll be fine after we washed twice. I give a shit about that. In retirement, I'm tempted to write a book. Ethel's mentioned this already. It should be a good book because, my goodness, I've seen it all while I've been here. The only major catastrophe I've not experienced, I think, is one member of staff actually murdering another. I've got 2 weeks to go, so I suppose it's still feasible. One of the delights of working at this place has always been the people you work with. I've made some good friends and met some amazing characters. Some thank yous now, and there are scores of names I would like to put on this list, but time will not permit. I am very conscious of the fact that I'm being slotted in between the turn-up and the lunch break. There are still papers to produce. Firstly, to my fellow members of the board, Harry Levy, Michael Coates, Brian Evans and Colin Manry. There's a Chinese proverb that says, "Lord protect us from living in stirring times." It never worked for us. The times were never less than stirring, and I could not have wished for better colleagues during such difficult times. Mind you, there's another Chinese proverb that says, "A man would sit for a long time in an armchair with his mouth open before a roast duck flew in." Next to my real managing director, my wife Margaret, who took on the job 35 years ago and has put up with the late nights, the long hours, the cancelled plans and all the demands that this pretty demanding job makes on the home and family. Without her, I would never have made it. To everyone in the editorial department, it's been a pleasure and a privilege working with you, some of you for a very long time. I can't name all the names I would wish to, but I must pick out two. Ethel Hawkins, who's been my secretary, shield and protector throughout my time here. Thank you, Ethel. And Stuart Rawlins, my strong right arm for the last 5 years. It gives me enormous pleasure and confidence in the future to know that Stuart is taking over from me. I feel I'm leaving the department and the Chronicle in safe hands. To the generations of canteen staff who have looked after me so well, and without whose culinary skills I would probably weigh about 12 stone, I say thank you, ladies, and I hope you'll find someone to fill the empty seat. To all the hods, to all the old hands, to every one of you, I say thanks. It's been good to know you. People have asked me what I plan to do in my retirement. All sorts of things, really. Most of them self-indulgent. Why not? I've been working for 45 years. That seems a fair enough stint to me. Hopefully there will be one major change in lifestyle for Margaret and I. My eldest daughter plans to make us grandparents for the first time in November. I expect that to keep us fairly occupied. People ask me if I have any ambitions left. It would be rather nice to live to be 100, just so that when some probably as yet unborn reporter from the Chronicle came round to interview me and asked me what I owed it all to, I could use the memorable quote, "I don't know, son. If I'd known I was going to last this long, I'd have taken better care of myself." I feel immensely privileged and very proud to have been able to spend the last 18 years as editor of one of the oldest and one of the best newspapers in the country. The last half hour has undoubtedly been one of the most emotional I've spent during that 18 years. Before I go, I think I should make something very clear. I'm not actually leaving today. I'll be back on Monday for another couple of weeks. So if you see someone looking like me shuffling up and down the corridor, it's not the ghost of Westway, it is actually me. There are two reasons why I'm here for another 2 weeks. The first is that on July 29th, between noon and 3 p.m, I'll be serving drinks and sausage rolls in the boardroom, and I hope as many of you as possible will pop in and join me for a while. The second reason is that after 37 years with this company, they air-conditioned my office yesterday. I thought I'd get the benefit of it for a couple of weeks before I left. So for now, I will not say goodbye. I will say au revoir. I'll miss you all dreadfully. Good luck. God bless.
Everybody to come now and have a good look themselves, because you'll all want to know what you contributed.
Which bus? The one in there. Yes, you need to. There's some round there. Yeah.
It's on there, is it?
Where'd you get them from?
Where are those two?
Steve, we got 3 plates to come here, though, Peter.
Hey, what? We don't make a difference to you. You don't really want that in there, do you?
No, no. Steve, I might pay you out there. I might be left for you. What are you doing?
Here.
Do I need a pair?
Yes.
You roll it up. Yeah.
Right, really thin. Put it in there and blow your brains out when it comes out.
Push it well in. Eh?
You have to push them in. Treat it like an oven. How many more?
What I do, people, you take a picture. So exciting. I'll take a picture. Take one of these out. Do it myself. You just press the button and turn back to me.
With the finger on the button?
Yeah. I hate that guy, don't you?
Oh, it's a shame.
Is this Grace Press there? I can't
No. I should do a Michel Legrand on this.
Well, I should hang
I'm going to do it.
Can you do our best, Sharon? Say so. I think she just had.
Here comes the plate.
Can I get everybody round the other side? Just there. What about those people? Yes. People at the back, can you just come forward? You really come forward, please, everybody. People at the desk too. Come on. Come on. Come forward. Come on. That's it, lovely. Go further than that. Go further than that. Right then. Right, can everybody quiet for 2 seconds?
Watch your head.
Oh, that's right. You're wrong. Can you all look this way, please? Nice big smile from everybody. That's better for my little children. I know it. Can you just step a little bit closer, please? Right then, nice big smile from everybody. Look this way. And again, nice big smile. And don't look so worried. Look, oh, blimey, look, it's picture time again. You know what photographers are like? I'll treat you. Stuart, can you just step behind Castle, please? That's it, lovely. That's it. That's it, all I wanted. That's it, that's it, everybody. Nice big smile. And again, like that. Nice big smile, look, everybody. Don't worry about Steve. No, he's going to fall off. Thank you, Graham. And one last I'll use the other ear.
Scissors. Oh, well, cool. It's okay, Brian. No, we expect this morning. See you later, Chris. Have a good time.
Peter, can you please into your right leg? Put your right leg on the leg. That's it. That's it. Nice big smile this way. Do it again.
Gonna get you there.
Yes, it's manual. Just turn it so it's Margaret like that.
Like a good one, I've improved.
That's it, just like that, just like that.
You're going to get that, then?
I want to get that in, Peter.
I don't know.
Lovely.
Close up your left ear, Peter.
The Man in the Moon's in there somewhere.
There you are, folks. Sorry?
The moon shot.
No, it's just there.
You can't go there. I'm sorry, yes. Yes.
Have you got the staff card?
Yeah, he's cut by it. I mean...
Perhaps people will pass around if you promise not to thumb it.
Was it?
You sit over now.
Oh, you're there. My intimate partner.
You've still got that marmite on your face as well.
Unless you're ready. Well, it's about 14 volumes, and then stick to one. That's the... Yeah, they're light, so presumably it's... Right, I'm out.
What's that, that's 3 points?
No, Barry, stop with him.
It's upside down. It's not even here.
I'll read it to Ken. Yeah, Mogolin. Mogolin, if it's not switched on. Are you all right? Very well. Well done, sir. Where's my red book?
Get out of here. Excuse me, Steve. I'll keep thinking about that.
So what do you get? Keith was just asking Steve. Is that all right?
What do we see with
Which is your best side? No, it's not. I'm proud of these things usually. I'll say a few words to Peter. Hello, Peter. You're a lovely man, and you always have been. Thank you very much for the invite.
I'm not saying anything. You've said enough from me.
We're all moving around.
Perhaps you'd like to say
Say a few words to this. In connection with what? Oh, well, Peter for a long time. He's been very helpful to Old Music Club in connection with sponsorship of the Chronicle of the Essex Musician of the Year. Very pleased to be here today to see him off. I hope he has a long and happy retirement.
My contact with Peter Smith started when the Ongar Music Club, under the guidance of Jeffrey Timms, held this Essex Young Musician contest. And I, as the chairman of the Chelmsford Music Society, thought it would be a marvellous idea if we could engage each year's winner to initiate our season's concerts starting in October. And this has happened now for the second year. And we hope that this will happen year after year with the help of the Essex Chronicle. The Chelmsford Music Society will launch every season a concert by the newly identified Essex Young Musician of the Year. What more can I say?
Well, Peter, I've had lots to do with over the years, particularly in my police capacity. When I came here as a young sergeant, I was a young sergeant once in 1964. And then later, I was involved with a lot of murders in the county. I was deputy head of the CID and knew Peter in that capacity. And then, of course, more recently, in the last 4 years, I've been the fundraiser for the hospice. And I must say he's been very helpful through his staff in particular, but very helpful to the hospice and the hospices in Essex in general. And I'm very grateful to him, and I do wish him a splendid retirement.
Let's say a few words to Peter, Mr. Rickman.
About Peter?
Yeah, can you just go just that way with the line?
Peter Smith. Oh, yes. I think the best thing you can say about him is that he's a great Lancastrian, and there aren't many of them. About... Oh, yes.
just say how nice it is to be here, to say goodbye to Peter Smith, who's been a very good friend of ours over the years. I've enjoyed the very professional relationship that's existed between us in news gathering and news sharing, and that's been a very pleasant experience. So from the Essex Police, we wish him well and all the very best for the future.
It's been a very nice experience to work with Peter. We've always had an excellent relationship, and I think that's been reflected in our dealings with the Chronicle and their dealings with us. So I wish you all the best in your retirement, Peter.
Thanks for coming.
How are you doing? I thought that was you behind there. I'm sorry, my agents.
It's a fallback and you've given me this year, and I hope you have a long and happy retirement.
Okay, I'd like to wish you the best of luck in your retirement, Peter. It's been great to know you. You've been a tremendous help to us, and we look forward to keeping contact with you in the future. Best of luck. Didn't work.
Yes, thank you very much for the invite, Peter. We've entertained you enough at the Chamber of Commerce lunches. Time for a return. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Best, I shall miss working with you, and I shall particularly remember the Schools Wildlife Project, which we finished about 6 months ago, because that was a great success for us, and it's unusual for a water company to work closely with a newspaper and both benefit. It was very much down to your drive that we achieved it. So thanks a lot. Have a good time and take care.
From John Sherrington, Chief of the Essex Fire and Rescue Service. May you not have any further 999 calls, but a long, healthy and happy retirement from all of us. Cheers.
Well, I've been in Chelmsford for 22 years, and like Peter, I'm not sort of a local. I come from London, but I've been running the theatre here for 22 years, and he's been of enormous help. And he actually was the one who initiated sponsorship along with Harry for the theatre about 3 years ago. So it's a wonderful relationship, and we're going to miss him very much, but he's still welcome at the theatre any time as our guest.
As long as it's free tickets?
Oh, it'll be free tickets. I mean, we wouldn't dream of asking him otherwise.
Yes, I work for New Chron Productions as well. Just like to say, we had a very, very happy working relationship with Peter Smith, and hopefully the sponsorship that he started will carry on now that he's retired, and we're delighted. Thank you.
Very well. I must say that the paper has been absolutely magnificent in all our efforts in Essex, and I wish him all the best in his retirement, especially with his fishing, if he's doing it from the top deck of an open